Welcome to Radio Express World News, presented by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. In retaliation to the remarks made by the United States federal officials and major public health agencies about the readiness to distribute a vaccine by end October, California Senator Kamala Harris made an open comment about distrusting the president's remark. She further went on to say that instead of believing that the vaccine would be safe to use, she would wait for experts to confirm its efficacy and safety. Quoting her words as said to CNN, "I will not take his word for it." Weeks after an at-home coronavirus testing kit made headlines, research reveals that although the kit is inexpensive and returns results in minutes, it is not good at picking up low-level infections. With Americans enjoying a holiday on Labor's Day, public health experts fear that the weekend could trigger a surge. That said, top infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci stated the importance of taking precautions while enjoying Labor Day weekend. He said, "You don't want to tell people on a holiday weekend that even outdoors is bad. They will get completely discouraged." Meanwhile, Californians are bracing for a scorching heat wave with temperature hovering around 110 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat is coupled with gusty winds, which raises widespread concern over another blaze. India recorded around 90,802 new coronavirus cases on Sunday, marking it a global record. With a summited tally of infections at 4,204,613 and death toll at 71,642, the nation's economy has plummeted to a point of tough recovery. Following a surge in coronavirus cases in Punjab and Chandigarh, the Health Ministry has stationed teams in both the places to assess the situation and provide remedial measures. To this effect, the teams will review public health measures, their testing, and clinical management of the virus. Over to Australia, the city of Melbourne extended its lockdown on Sunday by 2 more weeks. In effect, all lockdown restrictions will be in place until at least September 28th. According to sources, Australia plans to purchase 84.8 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine at a cost of $1.7 billion, subject to the approval and success of 2 promising vaccine candidates. One of the 2 candidates in consideration is a vaccine by AstraZeneca, while the other is a University of Queensland vaccine by CSL. Clinching the AstraZeneca deal would entail the purchase of 3.8 million doses of the Oxford vaccine, which will be made available by January 2021, and the University of Queensland vaccine will follow suit by mid-2021. That said, the vaccine by AstraZeneca is currently under phase 3 trials in the UK, Brazil, South Africa, and the United States, and has generated a strong immune response with no significant safety concerns. In another instance, several families that have been separated due to the pandemic have taken to social media seeking help to unite them with their loved ones. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, streets were packed with rioters protesting over the postponement of the legislative elections. The pandemic-instigated delay in elections, coupled with China's imposition of a national security law, took the demonstrations to a different level. Touted as one of the largest protests in terms of size, police had to intervene with pepper pellets and arrested almost 300 people. Although the decision to delay the council elections by 1 year was made solely in view of the pandemic, pro-democracy figures and opposition politicians blamed the government of using the pandemic as a reason to delay the elections for the potential fear of losing. Moving on, children in Indonesia seem to be the hardest hit during the pandemic, not because of the virus itself, but the virus-related education methodology that involves studying from home. To this extent, several children in North Sumatra have to climb trees in search of internet signals to finish their assignments. With schools shut down due to the pandemic and internet and cell phone service being limited, students are facing severe hardships to gain knowledge. According to the Education Ministry, over 30% of the students do not have access to the internet, leaving the basic right to knowledge a novelty. The total number of coronavirus cases in the nation stands at 190,665 and death toll at 7,940 as of Saturday. Once again, Belarus made headlines through large protests that took place for a 4th consecutive week in Minsk. Demonstrators don't cease to uphold the fight for dethroning the authoritarian president, Alexander Lukashenko. To this end, over 100,000 people thronged Independence Avenue in Minsk, demanding the stepping down of the president. The square was barricaded and cordoned off by the police, even as several demonstrators were arrested. On Sunday, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu imposed overnight curfews in 40 cities and towns that were most affected by the virus. However, it did not enforce a full lockdown owing to strong opposition from politically influential religious politicians. Therefore, Netanyahu resorted to curfews instead of a complete lockdown. The measures will go in effect on Monday night. An outbreak associated with the reopening of schools in Cuba has pushed schools to shut down merely weeks after reopening. Data from the AP states that nearly 75 schools will now transition to televised teaching. With 30 new infections reported over the past 15 days, the nation's total record of coronavirus cases is 4,300 and 100 deaths since the pandemic. Over to Japan, a devastating Typhoon Haitian thrashed the southern mainland with strong winds and rains, depriving thousands of homes with power supply. Evacuation orders were issued to nearly 1.8 million people as the typhoon drew closer to the southern island of Kyushu. Data from the meteorological agency has it that the typhoon would hit the Goto Islands in Nagasaki around 3 a.m. on Monday and then move to the Korean peninsula. Ending today's bulletin, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson would be chalking up a legislation that overrides the Brexit withdrawal agreement on Northern Ireland. In that, negotiators will be given an ultimatum wherein UK and Europe will have to agree upon a post-Brexit trade deal by October 15th, failing which Britain will leave for good. With that, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the next program on Radio Express. To receive Radio Express English news and English programs in your WhatsApp, please send a WhatsApp message, English programs, to 90727 95547. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Radio Express. Thank you.